Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books, and today we're reviewing a romance book. So let's get started.
Sounds fun. All right, so today we're taking a deep dive into Perfectish by Jessica Seaborn.
Okay?
It follows Prue, a woman nearing 30 who's feeling a bit lost, as she navigates the ups and downs of life and love.
Yeah, I can relate to that feeling.
Absolutely. It's a pretty universal experience, I think.
For sure. So where does Prue's story begin?
Well, it all starts at her friend Delia's wedding.
Ah, weddings.
You know how this can be a whirlwind of emotions, especially when you're the single friend watching everyone else seemingly pay off?
Yeah, definitely not always the most fun experience when you're single.
Right. And Prue, well, she's not exactly feeling the wedding vibes. She's late, a bit cynical about the whole affair, and finds Delia's extravagant tastes a bit much.
So she's not exactly the life of the party then.
Not quite. Right from the start to see Prue's self-deprecating humor and her tendency to observe rather than fully participate in the festivities.
Sounds like she might be holding back a bit.
It's like she's holding herself back, almost afraid to let loose and enjoy the moment.
Interesting. So does anything happen to shake her out of this funk?
Well, she meets Hugh, a handsome groomsman and an ichthyologist of all things.
An ichthyologist, I have to admit, I'm not familiar with that term.
Yeah, it's not an everyday word. It turns out he studies fish.
Oh, wow. Who knew that was even a career?
Right. Anyway, there's this undeniable spark between them, and Prue, despite her initial reservations, seems intrigued.
So maybe this is the start of something new for her.
This meeting with Hugh is a turning point for Prue. It's like a little flicker of hope in her otherwise somewhat gloomy outlook. But here's the catch. It turns out Hugh is engaged.
Oh no, engaged. Talk about complicated.
Exactly. It wouldn't be a very interesting story without a little bit of drama, right?
True. So we have Prue feeling loss approaching a milestone birthday, and now there's this potentially complicated romantic interest. What else is going on in her life?
Well, as we delve deeper into Prue's life, we discover she works as a crisis supporter at Love on the Line.
Love on the Line, what's that?
It's basically a call center for people struggling with loneliness and relationship woes.
Wow, that's pretty unusual. So she's surrounded by other people's relationship problems all day.
Exactly. It's a pretty unusual job, but it gives you a glimpse into Prue's empathetic nature. She really does care about helping others, even if she struggles to apply that same compassion to her own life.
It's interesting how sometimes we could be so much better at giving advice than taking it ourselves.
It's fascinating because on the one hand, she's surrounded by people yearning for connection, but she herself feels isolated.
That makes sense. So it's like she's helping others find what she's searching for herself.
Exactly. And then there's her brother Ben, who seems to have it all figured out. He's a successful erotic novelist, talk about an interesting family dynamic, and he lives a carefree life, seemingly immune to the pressures their mother puts on Prue.
A successful erotic novelist. Wow, that's quite a contrast to Prue's job.
Right, it sets up this interesting dynamic between them.
It's almost as if Prue is constantly comparing herself to everyone around her, Delia, with her seemingly perfect life, and Ben with his success and freedom.
Yeah, you definitely get that sense. It sets up this underlying tension and makes you wonder how Prue will break free from these self-imposed limitations.
Okay, so we have a bit of a love triangle brewing, some family drama, and Prue's own internal struggles. What happens next?
Well, the story takes an interesting turn the morning after the wedding. Prue wakes up at Ben's house, that's where she's currently living, only to realize she slept with Hugh.
Wait, I thought you said he was engaged?
Yep. And then, to make matters even more awkward, he asks her to keep their encounter a secret.
Oh boy, this guy's playing a dangerous game. And poor Prue, she's already feeling vulnerable and lost, and now she's caught up in this secret affair with a man who's supposed to be marrying someone else.
It's a recipe for disaster, but you can't help but be drawn into the drama.
I could see that. So now there's even more at stake. How does Prue handle this situation?
The tension just keeps building as Prue and Hugh continue to run into each other at events, especially with Delia present.
Yikes, talk about awkward.
It's clear that Prue is developing feelings for Hugh despite knowing their relationship is doomed from the start.
So we have a love triangle in the making, a protagonist battling inner demons, and a whole lot of family drama brewing. What could possibly happen next?
Well, just as you think things can't get more complicated, Delia's seemingly perfect marriage starts to crumble.
Oh no, what happens?
She confides in Prue about her husband Nico constantly canceling plans and making her question their relationship.
It's ironic, right? Earlier it was Delia comforting Prue, and now their roles are reversed. It shows how appearances can be deceiving, and even those who seem to have it all together are often struggling behind closed doors.
Exactly. And as Delia's marriage falls apart, she ends up moving into Ben's house. Remember, that's where Prue is staying, too.
Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. So now they're all living under the same roof.
Exactly. This sets the stage for even more complicated interactions and raises the question, how will Prue cope with her best friend moving in, especially knowing about Delia's marital problems?
And let's not forget about the growing connection between Delia and Ben. They spent a lot of time together bonding over writing, and it's clear there's a spark between them. Prue's already feeling a bit lost and insecure, and now she has to deal with the possibility of her brother dating her best friend. Talk about a recipe for disaster.
The drama certainly doesn't stop there. Prue attends Ben's book signing and has an unexpected encounter with her ex-fiancé. Joseph Awkward doesn't even begin to cover it.
Ouch, that's gotta hurt. Especially since Joseph is now in a new relationship, and Prue is still trying to figure out why their engagement ended. Talk about adding salt to the wound.
This meeting with Joseph forces Prue to confront her lingering feelings of hurt and confusion. It's clear she hasn't fully processed the breakup and is still seeking closure.
So we have Prue juggling a complicated love life, navigating a strained family dynamic, and now dealing with the ghost of relationships past. It's a lot for one person to handle.
I remember this is all happening as she's approaching her 30th birthday, which adds another layer of pressure and self-doubt. She set these goals for herself, ditch the job, move out of her brother's house, and find love, and it seems like she's further away from achieving them than ever before.
It makes you wonder if she'll ever find her footing and achieve that perfect-ish life she's yearning for.
Well, that's where we'll leave it for now. Stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive into Perfectish, where we'll uncover even more twists and turns in Prue's journey. Welcome back to our deep dive into Perfectish.
Okay, so last time we left off, Prue was dealing with a lot. A secret romance, a crumbling friendship, and an ex-fiancé reappearance. And her 30th birthday is looming.
Talk about an emotional roller coaster, right? It's like everything's happening at once and she's just trying to keep her head above water.
I know, right? But it seems like things are about to get even more interesting. The family decides to head to Byron Bay for Mom and Dad's vow renewal ceremony.
Oh, vow renewal. That's sweet.
Yeah, you would think a celebration of love and commitment would be a nice distraction.
Yeah, for sure.
But for Prue, it's just another source of stress.
Why is that?
Well, the trip highlights that complicated relationship she has with her mother. You know, she's always striving for her mom's approval. But it never seems to be enough.
It's like she can never quite meet her expectations.
Exactly. And then comes this huge revelation that is completely like rocks Prue's world.
Oh no, what happens?
She discovers that her mom has been fabricating stories about her childhood.
What, like making stuff up?
Yeah, essentially creating this idealized version of her past that's completely untrue.
Wow, that's a major betrayal. It makes you wonder what else Mom might be hiding.
Right, and how will Prue deal with this? It's got to be a tough pill to swallow.
It's definitely a pivotal moment in the story. It forces Prue to confront the reality of her family.
Yeah, and question everything she thought she knew.
Exactly. She feels lost and betrayed, unsure of who to trust or where to turn.
So what happens next? Does anyone try to help her through this?
Well, amidst the chaos, her dad steps in, to offer some comfort.
Oh, that's nice. What does he say?
He acknowledges Mom's flaws, but emphasizes that there's still love beneath the surface.
Okay, so he's trying to help her see the good in their mother despite her flaws.
Yeah, it's a small but significant gesture. It shows that even in the midst of family drama, there can be moments of genuine connection.
And understanding.
Exactly. And it seems like Dad's words have an impact on Prue. He encourages her to find her own path.
Her own path.
And pursue her passions, something she's been struggling with for a while now.
It sounds like maybe she's finally starting to realize that she doesn't need to live up to anyone else's expectations.
Right. She can create her own happiness and define success on her own terms.
Okay, so that sounds positive, but does this realization translate into any action?
Well, not immediately. In fact, things seem to get worse for Prue before they get better.
Oh no, what happens now?
She ends up moving into this dilapidated share house.
A dilapidated share house? That doesn't sound very promising.
It's a far cry from the perfect life she had envisioned for herself.
And then what does it get worse?
Just to add to her list of woes, she visits her friend, Thomas.
Thomas, the one from the wedding.
Yep. And finds out that his life isn't as rosy as it seemed.
Uh-oh. What's going on with Thomas?
Well, Thomas and his new wife, Jillian, are living in a fixer-upper that's far from the dream home he described.
Not the best start to married life.
And to top it off, Gillian announces that she's pregnant.
Wow. Talk about a whirlwind of events. It seems like everyone around Prue is moving forward with their lives, getting married, buying houses, starting families.
And she's stuck in this cycle of self-doubt.
Yeah, and inertia.
It's a harsh reality check for her.
So how does Prue react to all of this?
Not well. And as if things weren't bad enough, Thomas decides to spill the tea about Delia and Ben.
He tells her they're together.
Confirming her suspicions about their blossoming romance.
Ouch, that's gotta sting.
It's like a punch to the gut. Not only is her best friend dating her brother, but now she's hearing it from someone else, further fueling her feelings of isolation and resentment.
It seems like Prue is constantly being bombarded with reminders of what she doesn't have.
Reinforcing her belief that she's somehow failing at life.
So she's hit a new low.
Definitely. And then, to make matters even worse, Prue gets fired from Love on the Line.
What? Why?
All because she tried to help Maria, the single mother she connected with on the phone. Remember, she went against protocol.
And tried to meet her in person?
Exactly, which ultimately backfired.
So now she's jobless, living in a less than ideal situation, and feeling like a complete failure.
It's definitely a low point for Prue.
So where does she go from here?
Well, sometimes you need to hit rock bottom to find the strength to climb back up. And that's precisely what starts to happen in the next part of the story. Instead of wallowing in self-pity, Prue decides to confront the people she's been avoiding.
Okay, so she's taking charge.
She finally talks to Ben about his relationship with Delia, admitting her jealousy and frustration.
It's about time she spoke her mind.
It's a raw and honest conversation that reveals Prue's vulnerability.
Yeah, and allows her to finally express her true feelings.
And to her surprise, Ben opens up to her as well.
Really? What does he say?
He tells her about his ex-girlfriend Liz stealing from him,
Wow, so even Ben has his own hidden struggles.
showing that even he, the seemingly carefree and successful brother, has vulnerabilities.
It sounds like this could be a turning point in their relationship.
This exchange leads to a reconciliation between Prue and Ben. They realize they're not so different after all.
And they can support each other through life's challenges.
Exactly. It's a turning point in their relationship, paving the way for a more genuine connection moving forward.
So there's some progress on the family front. But what about Prue's romantic life? Is there any hope for her and Hugh?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting. Stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive into Perfectish, where we'll unravel the remaining threads of Prue's journey towards self-discovery and hopefully a happy ending.
So Prue is starting to make some progress with her family. But what about her own love life? Is there any hope for her and Hugh?
Well, the story definitely dives into that, explores the complexities of their relationship. He is still reeling from his broken engagement. And Prue's got a lot of baggage too, but there are these sweet moments, where they connect and support each other.
It sounds like a slow burn kind of romance.
It is. It's refreshing to see a romance develop gradually, both characters working through their own stuff.
Before fully committing.
Exactly. And speaking of working through stuff, Prue finally confronts Joseph.
Oh, wow. Seeking closure, I guess.
Yeah, she wants to understand why their engagement fell apart. It's a brave move because she's risking more heartache.
Definitely. It'd be easier to just avoid that whole conversation. But it seems like she's really determined to learn from her past.
Absolutely. So Joseph tells her that he felt emotionally neglected in their relationship. He felt unseen.
Ouch.
Yeah, he pointed out that she tends to focus on other people's lives instead of her own.
Which left him feeling lonely.
Exactly. It's not an easy truth to hear, but it's a valuable insight for Prue.
It seems like a recurring theme in her life, putting others' needs before her own.
Right. And this whole idea is reinforced when she meets Hugh's mom, Trilby. Yeah, she's this warm, supportive, accepting mother figure.
The kind Prue always wanted.
Exactly. It's such a contrast to Prue's own relationship with her mom. It shows how different family dynamics can be.
How they affect us.
Right. And then just as Prue's starting to embrace these new perspectives, her own mom surprises her with an apology.
Wow, really? What does she say?
She admits her mistakes, acknowledges her strictness, and expresses regret for lying about Delia and Ben.
It's a big step for her. It might not erase the past, but it's a start.
Definitely. It shows that growth is possible, even in complicated relationships.
So Prue's starting to let go of some of that resentment and anger she's been holding on to.
Yeah, she even shows up at Ben and Delia's house a bit drunk and apologizes for her behavior.
That's a good sign she's accepting their relationship and ready to focus on her own happiness.
Exactly. And as the story wraps up, we see Prue celebrating her 30th birthday with Hugh and her family.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's a simple celebration, but it marks a new chapter in her life. She may not have achieved all those goals she set.
But she's grown and learned so much.
Exactly. Perfectish by Jessica Seaborn. It's a charming read about letting go of expectations, finding your path, and embracing the beauty of being perfectly imperfect.
I love that. Thanks for joining us today for this deep dive into Perfectish.
Of course.
Be sure to subscribe for more bookish adventures and hit that like button if you enjoy the ride.
And spread the word.
Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for listening.